Hey, truth about exercise. Listen, we talked all about this nutrition. So when you talk about exercise and fat loss, we know that diet alone is not a long-term strategy because we got to stimulate the metabolism to keep burning fat effectively if we want to manage our weight and keep our fat down. So what do most people do exercise-wise when they're trying to lose weight? Cardio, right? You got to do cardio. Get on that treadmill. If you go to any gym, any big gym, what's the most popular area is always that cardio area. And again, look at, I developed a name for those people that are there, and I swear they spend the night there all the time because they never go home. The cardioholics, they are there. Some of them 7 days a week. I've known these people. And they're just going and going on all that cardio. And you look at them, and ask yourself, how much has their body changed over the last 3 months? Yeah. How about the last 6? Right. How about the last year? Not much at all. And they're doing the same thing over and over and over. It's one of the things I looked at. Why is cardio? It works a little bit, and then what happens? It stops. Why are we doing all this work? That's the whole definition of insanity. I do the same thing over and over, and I'm hoping one day it's going to kick in, but it doesn't. So the problem with just doing cardio is that the results are short-lived because of 3 things mostly. Adaptation is one. When you do the same thing over and over and over, you know what happens? Your body gets efficient. It learns how to do it more economically efficient, so I expend less energy. So then what happens is your results stop, and then you've got to do more of it. Do you know that I looked at the research on this, and I did a video on YouTube about it, because it was designed because people kept telling me, I don't want to run. I need to start running. I need to start running. Why do you want to start running? Because it's the best thing, the best way to lose weight. So I did a study on it, and I got all the research. And you know what I found? For the average person that weighs 170 pounds, it'll take them between 8 to 9 hours to burn 1 pound of fat on cardio. 1 pound. And that's running at, you ever done a 6 mile an hour pace on a treadmill? You're running, right? Try maintaining that for an hour. That's at a 6 mile an hour pace. The lighter you are, the longer it takes. So if you're down in the 140, 150 pound range, it's going to take you closer to 10 to 12 hours. And the heavier you are, the faster it happens. But the problem is the heavier you are, the more stress on your body. Typically, heavier people can't run as long most of the time. Yeah. So then it takes just about as long. It's a wash, right? So that's a lot of the problems with cardio.
Don't you want it for your blood to clean itself?
Yeah, I mean, there's an importance in having cardiovascular fitness. I don't want to underestimate that. But the way that you can get it, you don't have to spend hours on end. Because what's going to happen when you adapt, you've got to do more and more of it. And that's why people, they start fighting and doing all this cardio just to get the same results. I had the same problem back in the day. I was doing cardio. What started was like 3 to 4 days a week, very healthy. I got to the point where just to maintain, when I had lost 36 pounds the first time, I rebounded about 3 times. I was doing cardio 6 days a week for 90 minutes a day just to maintain what I had. I couldn't break the barrier, and I had, all of a sudden, low back pain, knee pain, ankle problems, hip problems, right shoulder problems, and neck problems. A whole host of it.
Well,
I couldn't keep up with it.
You know, Mike used to play real hard racquetball like a kid.
Uh-huh.
But he was packing like almost 260 pounds. And he finally had to have hip surgery. Because it's beating all that weight. I mean, that's weights pounding.
Yeah. And that's the other thing with repetitive motion. You're using the same muscles over and over. So you ever hear of repetitive stress syndrome? So it happens. You develop imbalances in your body. Certain muscles get really, really strong, and the opposing, every muscle's got an opposite. The opposite muscle gets progressively weaker. So all of a sudden you're like this teeter-totter where you're getting so unbalanced. And once you get unbalanced and overuse things, you cause muscle and joint stress and all these problems. And then what happens when you get an injury? Well, I got to back off on my activity. We back off on activity. We're not burning as much energy. Oh, here comes the weight. Yeah. I've seen it in physical therapy all the time. Knee injuries, surgeries, and people were depressed. God, I used to play tennis all the time. I used to run 5 miles a day. Ever since the injury, I've gained 10 pounds. I've gained 20 pounds. I mean, they were just depressed, and it happens. So, and that's the thing with just doing the cardio as we know it. Now, I'll talk to you a bit about how we can get around that. Injuries, that's what I just talked about as well. So, here's the deal. Why are we doing so much cardio? Well, how many of you know about, because cardio, if you do it, quote unquote, your fat burning zone, have you seen those little charts about the fat burning zone, right? Because we're told that as long as we stay in our fat burning zone, we're going to burn more fat. Well, here's the deal with it. In a way, it's true, but not the way that we think it is. See, low-intensity cardio, it burns a higher percent of fat. So the percent's high, but the overall calorie expenditure is, come on, reserve battery power. Wonderful. Okay. So, there we go. All right, but the total amount of calories, right? Think about it. Do we want just a higher percent of fat, or would we like to just burn more fat, period? Right? That's what happens, that if you look at the calorie expenditure from fat, it's lower. The percent's high, but the overall expenditure is lower compared to higher intensity exercise.
What's the ROI you have?
What's that?
ROI?
Return on investment. Kind of like buying property, right?
Yeah.
Very little return on your investment. That's what I was talking about. How good of a return on your investment is it that you have to run at a 6 mile an hour pace for 9 hours to burn 1 pound of fat? Ugh, not too good, right? Intense resistance training, though, is more effective for fat loss. They've done studies on this where they show that high intensity, like interval type training, it's been shown to be more effective in overall fat loss than steady state cardio at low intensities. It's also, from a health standpoint, more beneficial for you anyway. And think of it this way. When you're just doing the cardio, okay, you're primarily moving your legs on there, right? So the only real muscle action you have is your legs, but not to a high degree. So here's what cardiovascular does. Cardio really refers to your heart. Vascular is referring to your blood vessels. So cardiovascular training, it's the ability of your heart to pump blood and oxygen and nutrients through your body to your muscles, okay? Now think of your muscles like the door over there. On this side, right in this room, we're the blood, we're the nutrients, all right? For your body to be moving and doing activity, your muscles need energy to do it. It gets energy from oxygen and nutrients. So if the muscle cells are on the other side over here, and that door is the barrier of entry, and I've got all these nutrients and oxygen flowing to that door, but they can't get in, there's a problem. I got everything floating around, but I can't use it. So what the resistance training does is it opens up the door. So your muscle cells can pull in the nutrients it needs and extract the waste right back out. That's the key to burning fat.